All right, boys and girls, making an intra-week update, and this one is done very early because we've expanded so much. Looking at the weekly profile, actually, let's see. I want to see if this makes a difference. Okay, no, it's fine. So here on ES, which was my main focus on for the week, besides Russell, I am looking at Russell as well, but yeah, I was looking at ES primarily because we actually had a target. I had a buy side target and had a sell side target. If you remember in the last video that I made, I was looking to see if we could use this imbalance to continue higher and clear those perfectly equal highs, because when we opened up on Sunday, this is the new week opening gap right here, we actually made double tops, equal highs, and displaced lower, taking liquidity, but came back up into the range. So I wanted to see if this BC could continue taking price higher, but we did not do that. We didn't use it to push up. So I saw during the New York session, the New York AM session, because now we're in the PM session. During the AM session, I started seeing strong displacements to the downside. Note that this is the previous daily low marked out right here. And at this point, I was monitoring the new day opening gaps and the new week opening gaps on ES and NQ at the same time. So something to note here is that when we opened up, we first took Asia session high. That's the Asia session high right there. We opened up, took Asia session high during London, of course, and then right here we created a CB disrespecting this BC as well. Typical 2022 model, basically, all the way to the previous daily low when the markets opened. What surprised me is the fact that we actually continued all the way down to this low without much of a retracement to a target that I've had for so long. I pointed out this target, I believe, in my in a few videos actually, but let's focus on this weekly, this daily BC right here, this daily inefficiency. I was looking at it for so long because on the lower time frame they were perfectly equal lows. So when you go on a lower time frame, looking there to the left, we see that low right there. It's perfectly equal to this one at 5850 and 5850. I'm looking at the lows up there, by the way, the open, high, low, close. So I'm looking at this figure, the L figure right there, 5850, and right there 5850. So yeah, perfectly equal lows, finally swept, got tagged. I was expecting us to consolidate or react inside of this daily BC because we could get a shift back up to the upside, but for me personally, I was able to capitalize on a bit of the move, enough for what I needed. Actually, I wish I could have held, of course, we can always say that. I wish I could have held the entire move to the downside on ES with its clean targets. Now, going to NQ, why I said that during the New York session, it was clear that we were going to the sell side liquidity for me, was because on NQ, if you remember in my video, the previous video on this channel, I mentioned how I did not like the fact that we left so many lows not swept. I mentioned how we had so many unswept liquidities. So we had this low, this low, this low. All these days have passed without us taking any previous daily low. So I took that as a possible low resistant liquidity run. And looking at this daily candle, I feel like this is enough to show why I was really considering it to be a low resistant liquidity run. We literally melted off 376 handles without any insane red folder news event or anything like that. It was just a matter of a right timing and of course price aligning with that, giving us a nice 300 handle run on NASDAQ. So what I meant by giving me bearish signatures was on the lower time frame. If you notice here on my intraday time frame, which is the 15 minutes chart, we took the Asia session high, just like we did on ES, and we disrespected the CB, of course, just like we did on ES. We now created this bullish candle right here. This specific one that took liquidity has now become a bearish breaker. I actually took this trade on YM out of all pairs, but why I took it on YM because it was closer to hitting the weekly imbalance than NASDAQ was. NASDAQ didn't even have any weekly imbalance. So this was a very nice entry right here. If you were watching the charts during the London session. If you were not watching the charts during the London session, we keep in mind that we have the previous daily low over there. We have this internal sell-side liquidity as a possible target over there. And right here, when the New York session is starting, I noted one thing. I noted that we swept liquidity by coming down to this low right here. We took all this internal liquidity on lower time frames. So we can consider this a sweep of sell side first, and then the next thing we did was a sweep of buy side next. So dropping down for me is a high probability run to the sell side liquidity, and we did exactly that. At 9:30 when the markets opened up, we traded up into this inefficiency. You might not be able to see it, but let's zoom in a bit. You will notice that inside of this CB, price respected it. I actually took this trade. This was my first trade that I took, but I took it on ES. On ES, we made perfectly equal highs instead though, but I took this trade. So if you missed this one during London, you could have waited for New York right here to take the double push entry, sweep of the sell side, sweep of the buy side, displacement, 930 manipulates, tapping you into the CB and target the previous daily low. This alone is enough to make you whatever you need for the day. So if your stop loss was there and your TP was there, a perfect easy 3-hour position. After a few minutes, your TP was tagged. Didn't even take long, maybe about an hour plus, I don't know. But a few minutes, your TP was eventually tagged. That's more than enough, in my opinion, to make what you need to make your ends meet. Of course, as you can see, price continued to Thursday's low, then eventually the relative equal lows we had over there, and then eventually the sell side liquidity that aligns with ES equal lows, this low and that low. So yeah, we finally cleared the sell side liquidity. What I'm interested in now, moving into tomorrow and the day after, first thing I need to note is that we have a very clean big range day. This was a very clean price action, actually surprising for me. I never expected this to happen today. I felt it, of course, intuition will tell me that, but I never expected us to have such a clean run to the sell side liquidity on Wednesday. I expected this to happen on Thursday when we had the actual red folder news event, but we got this today. And yeah, for me this was shocking. But now, moving forward, what I'm looking at, what I'm focusing on now is the weekly time frame of ES. And because we had a big range day today, there's a high chance that tomorrow might be a consolidative day, a day that I would say you should probably avoid. When you look at the weekly time frame, you'd notice one thing, that we have now tagged the weekly imbalance. I know the week is far from ending, but if I'm looking for any move from this weekly BC to the all-time high, right? I also didn't notice, by the way, that the weekly BC aligned with the daily BC, but now we can get rid of this. We can actually get rid of the entire line. Now that we've tagged into the weekly BC, if I am looking for buying opportunities, I would wait for a 4-hour confirmation for me to execute on that. Otherwise, if we are going to remain bearish, my eyes are going to now move to the weekly volume imbalance sitting right there. Notice how between those two purple lines, the bodies of the candles never really met, they never really touched. So I'm paying attention to these areas. Then of course, if price really gets weak, we could see price going all the way to those equal lows right there. But of course, as I said, I'm bullish on the indices until proven otherwise, right? So if this continues melting, who am I to stop it? These are the possible targets, but if it doesn't, then we can look for the all-time highs. For us to get an all-time high move, I would wait for the 4-hour to give me a change in the state of delivery. In other words, let's say some way, somehow, we have this massive bearish candle, right? Let's just say some way, somehow, we have a bullish one that forms right here, right? And it closes above this bearish candle. For me, this becomes a change in the state of delivery, and that's good enough for me to look for buying opportunities from. So if we get a candle that closes bullish above a bearish one, basically creating a bullish order block, then I could look for a retest of that body to continue buying this to the all-time high. But of course, this is assuming that we are going to get an expansive expanding 4-hour candle, right? We should also keep in mind that the 4-hour candle takes time to print, so yeah, we might get a consolidating Asia session, and even though we get a bullish one, a bullish 4-hour candle that closes above a bearish one that's sitting right here, and technically this now becomes our order block, right, for an entry. Even though we get all that, I'll be very careful, and I'll probably wait for a lower time frame confirmation, like on the 15 minutes within that 4-hour BC or order block, to look for an entry to buy. So yeah, for now I'm not gonna try and catch this falling knife. I'll wait to see how price plays out tomorrow during the New York session. Right now, I like the beautiful fall, even though I was not able to participate on majority of it. I only got probably something that looks as small as that, and I did not take it on my personal accounts either. So yeah, it's unfortunate that I missed it, but at the end of the day, there's always going to be opportunities. Always going to be opportunities. Never ever think that you missed the entire move, or that you're never going to get another opportunity to. Somebody can be there trading on the 1-minute chart, busy during the silver bullet hour, and still make much more money than you that's waiting for the 4-hour to print out whatever information you're waiting for. So never think that you can't make money in these markets. That's one thing I would say. Be patient, wait for your setups to come to you. Don't ever force anything on the markets. So yeah, that's my view on ES and NASDAQ. I'm waiting for a 4-hour shift away from this weekly BC, a 4-hour change in the state of delivery or market structure shift for me to look for buys. For now, we wait. I think we might even have to skip tomorrow, unless tomorrow gives us that bullish expansion to the upside. Then we could consider that. For now though, I'm not seeing it. Yeah, I've already pointed out Russell what I'm looking for. We are technically still in that 2-hour BC. And now we've definitely closed below it. So the question now becomes, are we going to finally run all the way down to these relative equal lows on NASDAQ? Does that mean we're going to do the same thing on Russell? Does it mean we're going to displace and continue falling off on Russell to clear sell-side liquidity levels, just like how NASDAQ has these equal lows that I was thinking we were going to clear during NFP before pushing up, and we didn't? So yeah, that's the question that I have now. So let's mark out our new sell-side liquidity. It's over there, 198.18. That's our new sell-side liquidity level. So if markets really remain heavily bearish and ES does not even bother respecting the 4-hour, if ES doesn't respect this weekly imbalance, give us some sort of reaction to look for buying opportunities on Friday and next week, then we could look for continue looking for sells to these relative equal lows on ES and the relative equal lows on NASDAQ. Basically this sell-side liquidity here that also has unswept liquidities. Notice how we don't have any imbalance between these sell-side liquidities sitting here. Of course, right here we have imbalances in this piece of price. We have imbalances that could hold price from pushing down, But if we go through it, if somehow price is here, then that's an easy opportunity, in my opinion, to look for sells to the equal lows, the sell side liquidity. So yeah, I am paying attention to both directions of the markets right now. I'm not going to try and force anything. And keep in mind that next week is NFP week, so anything is possible. And if in a few days after that, we will be having the US elections. So yeah, I would not be surprised if if this is all a huge manipulation to this downside, just because we want the election to take the stocks higher, to take everything higher to the all-time high. We need liquidity anyway for us to take new liquidity, right? So yeah, the all-time high is still there. So for us to melt off, not really a problem. I don't mind probing order flow and following price until we get a change in the state of delivery, because it gives us more room to run to the all-time high than trying to buy near the all-time high at a very expensive area, at a deep premium. So getting a discounted area could give us a reaction to go up, to go higher from there. So yeah, I don't really mind us selling off. I don't mind us buying up again. Just watch the lower time frames for confirmations and entries. For now, that's all I have on the indices. So it's a little bit of a longer one, but I wanted to give as much details as possible. And on dollar, of course, as always, we're just pushing higher. We didn't really give much of a retracement. I wanted this exact level on dollar. I believe it's a daily order block. Yeah, it's a daily order block. We didn't get it today. We opened up without a tail and we're pushing up again. We've taken this level, the top of the order block that I mentioned on my weekly outlook video. So now I'm going through that. We have the buy side liquidity there. There's a chance that Thursday, tomorrow might consolidate, and there's a chance we would not take this high. So if tomorrow consolidates or if tomorrow retraces a bit, we may have a bullish imbalance for Friday to continue taking us to the drawn liquidity. So this is something I could watch for on dollar, but other than that, I have not taken any trades this week. This was the only trade I wanted to take and we didn't get that. So now I'm waiting for the next objective and the next structure in price in order to look for any further opportunities on this. So yeah, for now, that's all I have. Stay safe, good luck, and as always, good trading.